Welcome back to my video tutorials, and today we're going to talk about how to be a brilliant coach. In my years of coaching and mentoring developers as another developer or as a manager, there's a couple of key things that you should always consider. The first one we're going to look at is the importance of coaching and why it's important for both you as a manager and for the individual that you're trying to coach. Here I'll also give you an understanding of why it is important to consider all these things when you're trying to mentor or coach someone. The next thing we're going to look at is the different styles of coaching and how you can relate to those different styles. In this section, I also want to emphasize that different styles will impact different people in different ways, so you have to adapt your coaching styles towards that. And from that, we'll move on to some key aspects of coaching, some tips on what you should try and do when you're trying to mentor someone. We'll also look at some of the important aspects of listening. What are the different types of listening and how you can be more self-aware when you're doing these kind of one-to-one meetings with people. Lastly, then, we'll finish off as usual in my videos some top tips on stuff that you should consider as well. Remember, as always, you can share some of your comments below, some of your experiences, or some ideas that you might have for future videos. Let's start off with the importance of coaching. What is coaching and why is it important? It's important to know that when managing others, we have the tendency to tell people what to do or how to do it. This can feel quicker and easier than waiting for people to find answers on their own. However, coaching is based on the idea that people are more likely to learn and make changes when they have a deeper realization for themselves. Also, through a coaching style, we can build a stronger relationship with team members by asking smart questions, listening well, and give clean feedback and showing we trust and believe in them. So next time someone asks you how to do something, try responding with, "What do you think?" or "What ideas have you got?" before you jump into the tell mode. It's important to remember that coaching is an ongoing mindset rather than an isolated activity. So coaching should be part of your everyday management style rather than a technique you just switch on in formal performance meetings. According to Professor David Clutterbuck, a coaching and mentoring expert, good coaching is all about helping individuals do their best thinking. Now let's look about choosing the right coaching style. Before we look into the key aspects of coaching style, it's important to understand that coaching isn't always about asking rather than telling. Instead, coaching works on a continuum, moving from a pull style to a push approach. Now, a bit of your mental exercise for you. Look at the diagram below and think about your natural management style. Then think about the best approach for your team members, and specific situations when one approach might be more useful than the other. When team members are highly skilled and motivated, it might work best to adopt the extreme pull or ask style. In contrast, a push or tell style might be more appropriate when team members lack the skill or the will or time is short. Most commonly, however, you want to sit in one of the middle boxes, as this coaching style can help others to take more accountability and feel more engaged. In the most extreme form of the push style, the coach makes all the decisions and demands. The employee simply follows the instructions. This means that less emphasis is placed on developing the personal skills and knowledge of the learner. In the extreme pull style, the coach tries to sit back much more. Although most of the work is done by the learner in this style, there is also a risk that the coach will not help the employee to learn valuable skills. Next, let's look at some key aspects of coaching. Taking on a coaching mindset is all about thinking differently in the first instance. It's about starting to believe and trust more in your team member and thinking about how they can grow. However, there are also some key aspects of coaching that you can start to work on to develop your skills. The first is help them feel comfortable. Get to know them a bit better before starting out. This isn't about being their best friend. It is, however, about setting a friendly, warm and open tone. If they feel relaxed and are ready to open up, the quality of your coaching conversations will be much better. The next is ask brilliant questions. The best type of coaching questions are the ones that make people really stop and think. Effective questions force people to dig deeper and challenge them to find solutions that weren't obvious before. Next is listen really well. Hearing and listening are two different things. Great coaching involves pure listening, when you're not distracted, preparing your next question, or just waiting to respond. Give effective feedback. Help people to see things about themselves they didn't already know or realize. Revealing people's blind spots to them in a way that's constructive and caring can sometimes generate the most powerful type of change. Help with setting goals. Coaching isn't about just finding solutions. It's also about helping people find clarity, direction, and purpose. Be a believer in the ability and potential of your team members. Rather than asking, why can't they do this? Ask, how can I help them figure it out? There's extensive evidence to suggest that such belief and potential can actually become a self-fulfilling prophecy, leading to improvements in performance. Now let's look at listening well. An important relationship building tool for any coach is the ability to display strong listening skills. Level 1 is not listening, waiting to speak or being focused only on your own agenda. Level 2 is surface listening, listening to the conversation with some degree of personal agenda. And now with level 3 is active listening, being very focused on what the person says, hearing, and recording facts and information. From their point of view, they can think of this person is beginning to understand deeper level issues and around this topic. But what you want to aim for is level 4 with deep listening. Actively listen plus using their intuition to hear the emotions, meanings and subtext behind what is being said. From a coaching point of view, it makes them think that this person helps me to identify emotions and insights I was not consciously aware of. Now let's look at some additional tips. Use open questions. When coaching, try to ask open questions which don't narrow the other person's options or thoughts. Something simple as questions starting with how, what, where, who, and when tend to elicit more insightful answers than those starting with did, didn't, is, or isn't. Next is listen, listen, listen. Listening is perhaps the most valuable skill that any coach can have. Try not to think, what do I ask next? When a team member is talking, just really pay attention to their words and actions and the right thing will come. You don't need to be an expert. Coaching isn't about being the expert in a given topic. Remember, you're not trying to teach somebody, but rather say the right things for them to figure it out themselves. Lastly, don't be afraid of silence. Although it can feel awkward, silence can be deliberate to prompt someone to reflect on something more deeply. I hope you found this video useful, and if you have, then click down to subscribe and don't forget to comment as always. I'll catch you in the next tutorial.